And what happens is a lot of people make and give all of these reasons as to why they're tired. I've been doing too much. I'm burning the candle on both ends. The kids are a lot. I'm volunteering. And I think we're living in a world right now where people bond more over being tired than they do over
Mm.
bringing great energy. People are like, oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, me too. That's what people bond over. It's what people connect over. And I think that's got to change.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Aaron, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world but fed up with the BS.
I know, it's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy, it's comedy, it's definitely full-on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Because Work Doesn't Have to Suck podcast, where we help Gen X leaders who should be at the top of their career, but just don't feel like they are. And this is Erin, co-host. Nicole is off doing her day job, and I am here with an interview today. It's been a hot second since we did an interview. Slacked off a little bit, but man, oh man, are we bringing you a good one today. I get to talk with Juan Bendana, and you get to listen in. And Juan is a confidence coach, a keynote speaker, and a self-proclaimed walking shot of espresso, which he is, and in a good way. And we talk about energy, we talk about confidence, and ultimately he helps leaders navigate uncertainty and exponential change by developing unwavering confidence to thrive in any environment. He's a motivational speaker. He's one of the top speakers in North America. But this isn't just motivation. We talk practically. He tells stories, gives you tips, things that I certainly had never thought of. And here are some of the things, if you keep listening, that you'll hear. First, why you should be prioritizing energy and not a victim of it, like prioritizing it in a way you've probably never thought about. Also, we talk about the two things you shouldn't do when someone else's energy is low. You know, that time when you naturally want to just bump them up or give them a boost. He's got a couple of things that you actually shouldn't do. The third thing we're going to talk about that's on there is a super powerful question that you can use to start like just about any meeting. It's a game changer. We also talk about what people get wrong about the concept of confidence. Like, what are the misconceptions? Why does that matter? He also talks about the 2 steps nobody talks about and where most people stumble when you want to do something big. And he gives some practical advice there. And then we also talk about something called the spotlight effect and why that should matter to you. I think I'm going to walk around just constantly reminding myself of the spotlight effect. So powerful. So if you have big goals, if you have things you've dreamed of, that promotion, that volunteering, the new business, I mean, you guys all have big goals. This is the podcast for you. So enough of the BS, enough of the promo. Here's my interview with Juan Bendana. I actually want to start right with Brody. Tell us about Brody and why he matters and why he can influence us.
Brody is my puppy. He's 2 now and is genuinely, like, of any dog that I've ever had, any dog that I've ever met, is like the most excited dog all the time. Like, he's never sad. He's never like he'll be asleep and then he will transition to just excited off the wall zoomies in like a second. And I always look at him as he's my role model for energy. Because it doesn't matter what's like going on in his world or circumstance or anything. And I share this with people. I share this with audiences that like he doesn't really need a reason to be excited or to be engaged or to have a great time. And sometimes we really do. Like, we make the way that we feel or how we show up in the world or what kind of energy we bring conditional on a lot of different variables, on a lot of different things. Only if things are going my way, only if I feel like I matter, only if I feel like I'm doing a great job and people tell me I'm doing a great job, only if I go on that vacation. And what I find is that there's a lot of these inflection points of energy throughout a year, beginning of the year, birthdays, holidays. And it sums up to maybe 7 or 8 moments of awesome energy. And then everything in between is exhausted, burnt out, tired, waiting for the next vacation, waiting for the next margarita, waiting for the next like opportunity to feel excited. And I just don't think you need to wait for that. Like, I think that's something that you can generate, you can create.
What's the first step to starting to reverse that cycle?
Ooh, deciding that it matters, deciding that, because sometimes we think we prioritize our energy, but don't end up doing that. We prioritize other things when we say we're prioritizing our energy. We say yes to everything. It exhausts us. We're overextended. I think the first step is saying, my energy matters. It's a priority. And then acting in alignment with someone that prioritizes their energy. Not only like physical energy and doing all the things, eating the kale, doing the yoga, like doing all the getting proper sleep, hydrating, all of those things are important. But there has to be a commitment and a willingness to say, I want to improve my level of energy, because the more energy I have in a day, the more connected I am to my relationships, the better that I feel day to day, the more engaged that I am in my work, the more influential I am. Because if you're talking to someone that's at a 2 out of 10 and they're exhausted and they're disengaged and they're checked out, their ability to influence whoever they're communicating with is going to be borderline non-existent. So I think the first step is really deciding this matters. This is important.
Well, and you said something that I want to challenge, actually. You said that everybody sort of prioritizes their energy. I don't think they do. I think they think they're a victim that creates their energies. And it's funny because I'm glad we went right with energy. I know you have a few sort of pillars of things you talk about in confidence and things like that. I'm sure they're all related, but the energy one, I think I was most interested in, because I don't think people talk about it, or talk about it in a way that is, you have control. It's more of like, it's sort of a victim of your circumstances than you solve for energy.
Yes, totally agree. And what I meant by I didn't mean that people prioritize energy, because I absolutely don't think they do. I think that people often say that they want more energy. It's almost a desire. They desire, not prioritize. They desire more energy, but then they're not acting in alignment with what's going to get them there. And what happens is a lot of people make and give all of these reasons as to why they're tired. I've been doing too much. I'm burning the candle on both ends. The kids are a lot. I'm volunteering. I'm doing all these things. But then they aren't creating, how people will say, like, you need to protect your peace. I think it's way more important to protect your energy by deciding what are the things that actually light me up physically, psychologically, environmentally, because your psychology, you can think yourself into tired. You can think yourself in energy. And your environment, if you surround yourself with people that after talking to them, you feel like you want to take a nap, everyone knows that kind of person, or that friend that like thinks they're funny, but isn't funny at all. And they're telling a joke. My friend Steven, he's going to hate me for sharing this, but he thinks he's hilarious. And when he's telling a joke, he's the kind of person that like can't get through it. Like, so we're on the outside trying to like decipher what he's trying to say. And what happens to every single person, everyone else? We're all dying of laughter because we can't even decide. We can't even get what he's trying to say. That's someone that I consider a charger, someone that brings you energy just because of the vibe they bring around. But then there's drainers. And I think we're living in a world right now where people bond more over being tired than they do over bringing great energy. People are like, oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, me too. That's what people bond over. It's what people connect over. And I think that's got to change.
What do you reply to someone who, is always, bringing you into that, like, oh man, I'm exhausted. I did 7 meetings today. Like, how can you change that cycle? What can you say?
I don't think it is trying to, two mistakes that people make. Number one is they try and coach them. No one wants to be given the advice in the moment of low energy. No one wants to be coached so directly and be like, well, you just need to change your mindset. No one wants to hear that. Even the most positive. If you're exhausted and you're drained and you're burnt, you don't want to hear that. That's the first thing. And the second is that you come in hot You come in, be like, but there's so much to be excited about. We're living in the most amazing time in the world. You get to walk. You're living in an incredible country with endless opportunity. They don't want that either, because you need to meet them where they are if you'd like to lead them where you would like to go. So I think the most effective thing is deciding intentionally who are you going to bring to the interaction, and not needing to agree with everyone, because this is what most people do. I was literally with American Express a week and a half ago with their executive leadership team. And a lot of them did this exact same. We talked about this, and all of them did the exact same thing when they would go into an interaction with either like a senior executive, maybe their VP, and that person was having a bad day or stressed or kind of down. They would turn themselves down. And then they would feel the dip because they felt like they needed to. And I think that is something that moves you away from confidence, to kind of wrap it to the whole idea of confidence. That moves you away from authenticity because you're not being your authentic self, your authentic energy. So I think the most important thing is to not have to agree with them. And what I mean by that is that you don't necessarily, if they're a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10, you don't need to agree with that. You can be enthusiastic, you can be excited, you can bring a positive attitude and a positive energy, but understand that you don't want to completely break rapport in coming at them. They're like, I'm having an exhausted day. I'm just having so much of a chat. Like it's just been so much. Get curious and say like, well, that must be a lot. I'm sure that's probably overwhelming. You probably got a lot on the go. That must be really hard, because people would just want to be understood. They want to be heard. They want to feel like you're interested. They want to feel like they matter. Kind of talking on the line of the whole confidence thing. People want to feel like they matter. And you can do that for them, even through just understanding where they're at.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, most of our listeners are sort of corporate 9 to 5, 9 to 9, whatever you want to call it, 9 to forever. Many in leadership roles. And, so one, they, their energy, I think they probably feel like victims, but we talked about that. But I was more intrigued to talk about how, as a leader, or, small L, big L, you really have people or working for you or not, the fact that energy matters. I thought that was, simple but novel, because I really do believe that. I don't think most leaders go, okay, what kind of energy am I going to bring to my team, to the meeting, to my colleagues today? Talk to us a little bit about why that matters and sort of the leadership role, and what that even looks like. Can you make it tangible?
Yes, and yes. This is the thing that's probably been the most exciting piece I'll share with a group. This is the part
you just lit up. You just lit up. I could see it. I'm
personally most excited about, because here's the underlying truth of not only leadership, but confidence, influence, is that people meet your energy before they meet you. And sometimes we put an overemphasis on the words we use, how we're presented, as opposed to the energy we need to bring into a situation. We're having even the conversation around imposter syndrome, of feeling like you need to be a certain way to rise to the occasion, to fake it till you make it, all of which is taking you away from your energy that you have the opportunity to bring. So I think it's important. Why? Because people meet your energy before they meet you. You have that, and I'll give you an example. Like, you have that feeling where you meet someone and you don't know what it was about them, but you just like them. Like, you didn't talk to them for long enough to decipher an opinion about them, but you're just like, damn, I like that person. That wasn't what they said. That was their energy. So how do we do it? And what do I see that is probably the most apparent and easily changeable thing that happens in the 9 to 5 world, in the Zoom rooms, in the meetings, in the boardrooms, is that we often will install negative outcomes into our questions. What do I mean by that? When people ask, are you doing okay? Are you doing fine? How are you holding up? What do all of those questions assume?
You're not doing so good.
They assume that you're just okay. They assume that you're just doing fine. They assume that you're holding, this is my favorite, making it through the day.
Surviving.
Making it through I'm pretty sure you're not on SEAL Team 6. So like, I'm pretty sure you just were in a bunch of meetings on Zoom sitting in an ergonomic chair. Like, you don't need to be making it through. But then what do? We install what creates our, not only our energy, but our reality, our focus. What drives our focus? The questions we ask. And we are consistently asking ourselves questions and asking other people questions. But we're asking these questions of, am I enough? Are they going to like that? Did my voice just crack? What am I going to eat today? Did I straighten my hair? What did I leave the thing on? We're constantly asking all these questions and asking questions of ourselves of, well, am I the right person for this? What if they figure me out? But we also ask questions to other people. So to make this practical, when you ask a question to your team member, how are you doing today? Are you doing fine? Are you doing okay? You making it through the week? You looking forward to all of those? Assume a negative outcome. The easiest yet most impactful question. I've had literal like full teams, full offices adopt this question, and it completely changed the energy of their team meetings thereon after. What are you most excited about today? What are you looking forward to today? What's been the best part of your day so far? Why? Because those assume a positive outcome. Those assume that there has been a best part of your day already. That assumes that you are looking forward to something. And this isn't just like anecdotal or my opinion. This is based on the research of tactical anticipation psychology, where basically it's our brain's way of preparing us for what's to come. Which is why when you're planning a vacation, you actually feel better before the trip when you're actually in Barbados. Like, you feel better before. And you have to be able to leverage that. So if you want more energy, invite more energy into your day. How? Better questions. Look for what you're excited about. Look for what you're looking forward to. And also use that for yourself, not just for your team. Yes, people, what's most exciting for you today? And now, like, entire teams are starting their meetings as opposed to, does anyone have anything to share?
Yeah.
No one's going to answer that. And people are like, what's everyone excited about this week?
Yeah.
Changes the dynamic completely.
I think it changes the dynamic in the here and now. I think it also starts to rewire those participants to ask themselves that every day. Right? Like, it's power beyond that meeting, which I absolutely love. Hey, it's Erin. Look, I'm not sure if you're a book kind of person, but if you are, and you're looking for a self-development-y type book that isn't stuffy and snoozy, I sincerely think you'd love my book, You Do You-ish. I tossed aside the standard BS most nonfiction books dish up, and instead, I give you real, sometimes tough love coaching on how to think about getting the career you deserve without working harder. It'll reframe how you think about the concept of authenticity in the workplace. It'll be sure that you hear and rewrite your sucky songs and walk you through my humans framework, the 6 principles of strategic authenticity. Since it's been rolling now for over 2 years, and it has over 130 Amazon reviews and a 4.9 rating, I can say with complete sincerity, I really think you'd love it. You can buy a copy by searching You Do You-ish on Amazon, or head to the show notes for a direct link. Let's talk about confidence a little bit, which is such a woo-woo. And look, I'm authenticity is my thing. So I'm in the, unicorn doo-doo business too, but we make these things tangible and real. So how do you make confidence tangible and real? I know you have something you call the confidence cycle. Why are you so passionate about confidence, and what do you think people get wrong about confidence?
Oh, quite a bit. Okay, how much time do we have? The inception of it was wanting to figure out how I went from someone that would get nervous and sweaty before talking to 15 people to having built confidence from someone that wasn't born with it naturally, where now in my career of giving keynote presentations for rooms of a few hundred up to 30,000 in a football stadium, people are like, how'd you get there? And I didn't really understand how I did. Like, I didn't really know. So then looking back on it and sort of reverse engineering, I started to realize that there was a system for building confidence that the research actually was missing. There were steps
Mm.
before confidence that weren't actually there whatsoever, which is why I built this framework and I built this sort of idea, and then I got to my business manager and I was like, dude, I think I have something here. And then we pitched it to different publishers. We're working on the book right now with Penguin. It launches in 2025, and I just dropped everything that I was speaking on and focused on that. Because
Mm.
before I've given probably 50, 60 keynotes for the past 8 years every year.
Mm.
So I dropped everything that I was doing because I would speak when someone say, we need a speaker to come in and talk about leadership. Great. Authenticity. Awesome. Team building. Sure. I would just say yes to everything.
Mm.
And then I dropped all of that to really go deep on confidence. And I think the thing that people get wrong about confidence the most is that they think people are born with it. You're not. The science actually shows confidence starts to develop at the age of 4. You're not born with it. The second is that they think confident people are extroverts,
Mm-hmm.
which some of the most confident people are actually the most introverted because they don't have anything that they feel like they need to prove or show. And there is no correlation between extroversion and confidence whatsoever in the data at all. The third thing that people get wrong is that they think confidence solely comes from competence or skill set, which is a great idea in theory, but it only works and it only is relevant in a vacuum. Sure, if you swing if you swing more golf clubs and hit more golf balls, you'll get a little more confident because you'll get better. You'll build skill set and then you'll eventually improve. Or with public speaking, you give one speech and it goes kind of well. Then you do your next, it kind of gets better and you build skill set. That skill set gives you proof. That proof facilitates and kind of forms the bedrock of your confidence. Okay, cool. But there's two missing pieces,
Mm.
which is what if you don't have the energy for it? And what if you're afraid?
Mm.
The thing that holds people back from getting to the competence step, it isn't actually delivering the speech, it's getting themselves to get in front of people. It's not actually the act of swinging the golf club. It's being able to have, number one, the courage, and number two, the energy to get themselves to go to the driving range and make a fool of themselves, or to go play golf with people that are scratch golfers and suck. So I think that those are the three things that most people are, I would say, the confidence myths
Mm.
that people get wrong. And I realized there's step 1 and step 2 before you get to the step of confidence. And people are just jumping right there and wondering why they can't sustain it, and wondering why the majority of people are still terrified of public speaking, still battle with their level of confidence in different contexts. It's because they haven't figured out those steps before.
How do you figure those out? What do you
I
do?
think it's what we talked about before in terms of energy. It is intentionally generating energy towards the area of your life you would like to build confidence in. If you want to speak, or if you want to golf, or if you want to build a business, or if you want to get the promotion, or whatever the goal that you have is, you need to generate the necessary amount of energy that you're going to be able to use as fuel to pursue it. Because anyone and everyone can set a goal. Very few actually achieve them, which is why I think it's 75% of people fall off by the second week of February with their New Year's resolutions. Because on January 5th, they buy the Lulus, they sign up for the yoga studio, and then they realize it gets hard. And they're like, oh, I just can't, I didn't know how. We have Google, and now we have AI, which is crazy. You have access to every single answer of every question you could possibly imagine. That's not motivational. That's just a fact. So what keeps people from doing the things that they want to do? It's a lack of energy and a lack of courage. Those two things.
How do you, so beyond sort of starting to prioritize energy, I would imagine part of it's being around how do people generate that? Let's say they're like, I really want to move into the sort of executive level role. But I have all those things, the fear, the lack of confidence, whatever, all the excuses. What does that look like for them? How do they get that step 1 and 2 that sound like probably the hardest, the momentum going?
Yes. I think the momentum is one piece, but the shortcut is another. And I'm not talking about an actual shortcut to just rise to here's the hack.
Oh, come on. We want the shortcut.
The fastest road to confidence is to identify who's the person that you want to be in the future. Who's the person that you want to be in the future? Who do you want to be? What does that person do? And doing the things that the person in the future would do now. That person would go to the gym. That person would speak up in the next meeting. That person would add more value than anyone else on your team. That person would ask your VP or your managing director or your team lead, where can I grow and how do I fast track my ability? Because high performers aren't this methodic, they aren't these like mythical creatures that haven't been studied. It's pretty straightforward what to focus on and the dials to move. If you're listening to this and you want to be a high performer and you are not working out consistently, you haven't even gotten in the game yet.
Yeah.
If you haven't taken care of your physical energy, if you haven't taken care of what you're feeding your body, what you're drinking, how you're moving your body at least 3, 4, 5 days a week, you're not even in the game. I know you're not a high performer yet. So that's a lever. Then those things, that's the thing. When you like, I remember when I was starting my career, I was 75 pounds overweight, had binge eating disorder, was in a horrible place. And that was the first lever I moved. I was like, okay, I want to figure this thing out. I want to build this career. I want to work with these kinds of people. What do I do? I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do that. And friends would be like, that's kind of unrelated. That's not really doing much. I was like, I get that. Just wait. And I started prioritizing my energy. And that energy then I was able to take from here, deploy over here. And then that started working. It's a transference. And I was like, oh, if I raise my energy over here, I can actually use that on stage. I can use that in a negotiation. I can use that in a conversation. I can use that over here. Whoa, okay, let me generate it here. Let me use it over here. And then now people always see the end result. And they're like, I want to do that. Okay, go to the gym. Go do some, people are like, I want to be a hyper, go do some burpees.
Yep.
Go do some burpees.
It all starts with the burpees.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've always worked out and stuff, but my journey changed lately because I'm a woman and I'm almost 50. And sometimes you also have to refigure out the formula. Like I had to get curious. I had to click on a few Instagram ads. So Instagram knew I needed to know more. And then Instagram flooded me with, all the ideas about how I need to change up my routine and what I needed to eat and join a program, right? And so I'm just thinking of it myself. It's those small things, but it took me years to do that, right? Years of back pain, years of wondering why the running wasn't keeping the weight off like it used to. And it just took a little bit. And then, picturing who you want to be. Couldn't agree with that more. I would love to switch gears a little bit. One of the questions we like to ask, because we're all about authenticity, doing things your own way. And we have sort of a segment, Buck That. And we're wondering what your Buck That story might be, a time where you went against the norm, what against maybe even people were telling you should do, and it actually turned out great.
I think it was probably the most pivotal Buck That moment was when all of my friends and people in my life were going into programs in college and university, and they were all getting into the schools, and some going Ivy League and some going state college. And I had this feeling that that's what I should do. I grew up in a traditional Spanish household with a traditional Spanish father that needed everything to be perfect and understood that success means going to school and going to college and graduating. And I decided to take another path because I remember I went to a conference and I saw a speaker when I was 15 years old. And I decided, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to figure that out. There has to be a way. And I didn't take the traditional path. And a lot of people in my life told me that you're never going to make it. It's not going to work. You need to be more realistic. communication is a gift. I remember I had a teacher, Miss H. I will keep her I'll keep her full name out of this, but Miss H told me that communication and writing, she was my English teacher, told me communication is a gift that you're born with and you just weren't.
Wow.
I remember her saying that like literally like it was last week.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, great. And I believed her for a long time.
Sure.
And I think that was the moment where I was like, I'm gonna go do this. And now people see the like massive conferences and the stadium events and all this stuff, and they're like, I'll get this message once a week, almost every single week for the past 3 years. Every single week. I want to get into speaking. I want to do that thing. What do I do? And people don't see the driving 8 hours to go speak where the speaking fee was a coffee mug.
Yeah.
Going to speak for my first event at a restaurant at 7 a.m. in Whitby, Ontario. Shout out Whitby. For 170-year-olds while they ate breakfast because I didn't ask the audience demo. And I was 19.
Oh, that's great.
And it was painful. It was horrible. But like they don't see those reps. So I think that was the biggest.
Yeah.
That was the biggest moment where I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
And it turned out, follow-on question, what was the topic of your talk, or what did you talk about to the 70-year-olds when you were 19?
Honestly, Aaron, I like blacked out for the hour. I don't even know. I honestly, I went in. This was, people don't even believe this. Like, I can literally find the restaurant on a map. I know exactly what road it's on. It was for a Rotary Club. And I walk in, I'm looking for Bob, the event planner. It's my first, hey,
Of
like,
course it's Bob.
this is, I know his name was Bob. And this was my first like official keynote. You got to imagine, I was so excited, practiced for dozens of hours on end in my parents' bedroom. Like I would just do run-throughs. And I show up and I see a bunch of senior citizens eating breakfast. I was like, okay, I'm at the wrong place. I was like, but I'm here early. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm here early. And I go outside, I go to the place like next to it, and I was like, okay, maybe it's in here. The door was locked. I was like, that's weird. And then I emailed Bob. I was like, hey Bob, I'm like, I think I'm at the venue, but I'm not really sure. I'm at the address. And I walk into the restaurant again just to ask the server, and I bump into this guy at the front. I was like, hey, I'm looking for a Bob. He's running an event here, and it's Bob. And he's like, Juan, we're so excited to have you. We're gonna be starting in 15 minutes, all right? And I needed to stand in the middle of the restaurant with a microphone.
You had to rotisserie chicken it.
For an hour. For an hour. So I went to the bathroom, as one does when you're nervous.
Sure.
And I was like looking myself in the mirror. And I'm like, you got two options, kid. You're either going to go out there and do the best you can, and it's probably going to be painful, embarrassing, and you're going to learn a lot from it. Or you walk out of the restaurant and you never do this whole speaking thing, call it a wash, and move on. And I went out there and I got the mic and I like was just talked, and I like shared some stories, and it had no structure whatsoever. And they were like, that was great. Thanks so much. I get in the car and I was like, okay. And I still, where on my keychain, I have the keychain from the Rotary Club. That was the speaking fee. And I'll bring that to the stadiums. I'll bring that to the like bigger events to be like, hey, don't take yourself so seriously. You're just a guy. It's fine. When they do the whole like sound check and the meet and greet, all that, I was like, you're not that important. It's like, it's fine. So that was definitely a turning point for sure.
That's what a great story. Last question. If you had one last tip that you'd want to leave people with to make their work suck less, what would it be?
I think it's understanding that people aren't thinking of you. I think, to go on the theme of what you teach on and speak on, I think one of the hardest skill sets to learn when it comes to confidence is to be relentlessly authentic. And the hurdle that we need to overcome is the opinions of other people. Like, you have to understand that there's something called the spotlight effect, where we think people are thinking of us more than they actually are. It's a phenomenon in psychology where we think, since we're the main character in our movie, we must be the main character in everyone else's movie, right? No, you're not. You're an extra without even a talking part most of the time. People aren't thinking of you. They're thinking of themselves. So you've got to understand that people are going to judge you anyways. You give that presentation, people are going to judge you. You share that strategy, people are judging you. That judgment doesn't make you less of a person. Confident people understand that the judgment's going to come. So instead, let's just give them something great to judge. The more judgment you get, the more hate you get, is probably you're doing something, you're making a splash, and you're throwing just a bigger pebble into the pond. So keep doing that. Welcome the judgment. Welcome the haters. They're great.
Give them
They fuel
something
you.
to talk about, right? As
100%.
a Canadian, Shania, isn't that Shania
Yeah,
Twain?
yeah, it is.
Canadian.
It is. Give them something great to judge. Give them something. I always think that whenever there's a hater or someone judging me, I'm like, great, I can give you something extraordinary to judge right now. You just wait.
Here you go. Here's your silver platter.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your energy, your wisdom, your excitement. I could see you just light up on this confidence thing. So congratulations on sort of going deep. It's fun. And where can people keep following your energy?
The two places I hang out the most is probably Instagram. It's just Juan, Juan Bendana. And then LinkedIn as well. It's a place where I hang out too. And those two places. Shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. I get back to DMs in a few days, but I respond to every single one. But sometimes it takes a little time. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show. This is great.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Erin.
Hey, it's Erin with a teeny request. If you have ever gotten any value from this podcast and you'd like us to stick around, plus you want it to continue to grow so we can kind of swindle bigger and more knowledgeable guests to join us and to keep providing you with tangible and inspiring actions you can take to achieve the career and life you deserve, could you please just take 1 minute to leave us a rating and a review? Those reviews go a long way in attracting guests to the show, and candidly, they really make Nicole and I's day. We see you. We really do. So when you have the time and inspiration, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Thank you.